and welcome to today's video. We're going to preview day one of MSI 2024 play-ins. Going forward, don't expect every day to be as in-depth. Well, depends how many series are going to go on for that day, whether I have enough time to go this deep on each one. But regardless, we're going to start here. FlyQuest PSG. Here I have the most common bans by each team during playoffs, and then not only that, but the bans against as well. And we can kind of try and form some opinions based on that. So in terms of what FlyQuest have been banning, heavy top lane as well as jungle. So with Volibear and Jax, we could see them being played in both on 14.5. Personally, I believe this is without double checking, LCS probably played on 14.5 because, hell, they banned Smolder, and Smolder wasn't picked on 14.6 at all. So 14.5 vibes, we must keep that in mind, that some teams played on 6 and some did on 5. But regardless, Volibear and Jax, a flex pick for top jungle, banned by FlyQuest more than most other champions. They also banned Rumble, so got that out of the way for Bwipo to play into. Banned Vi, so Inspired had a little bit of protection. Also banned Ahri in mid and Smolder in the bot lane. Now, as far as PSG is concerned, they also banned Rumble. They aren't a big fan of Rumble, so either it's so OP that neither team wants to leave it up, or neither team plans on playing it, and when they're playing other teams, they didn't want to have to play into it. Jungle, Sejuani, Lee Sin. So a couple different bans here, right? They weren't really too worried about the Vi on their end. Mid lane, Karma. So they didn't want to play against Karma, I guess. And Varus, Kalista for the bot lane. So when we look at the PSG, they more so were helping out jungle and bot lane, comparably to FlyQuest, which more of their bans were to get out flexes from the top side of the rift. Now on the against side, so what are they being like? How are teams slowing them down? In the case of top lane, FlyQuest faced Renekton and Olaf bans. Now Olaf is being included in the jungle section for this only because I know it's been buffed for Worlds. I don't know if it will be viable, but it is possible. If that is the case, then it's all of a sudden a flex pick for Fly, where not other teams necessarily have that in their back pocket. So that's a thing. But PSG weren't facing any bans in top lane. No one was really worried about Ozzy in top lane. But in the jungle, they did keep Junjia off of Vi and Xin Zhao. In the mid lane, we saw Orianna bans against Fly, and Ahri bans against PSG. So I wouldn't be surprised to see FlyQuest continue to ban Ahri because they don't want Maple to play it. If PCS teams didn't want Maple to play it, maybe it's safe just to get it out of there. In terms of the AD carry role, we saw Senna being banned against FlyQuest, and then Kalista Lucian being banned against PSG. Not a lot of overlap there, but it does seem that Kalista was a very high prio pick in PSG's games because it's not only banned highly against them, but also by them. And then in the support role, we have Renata and Nautilus, respectively. Renata for FlyQuest and Nautilus for PSG. Buzio evidently playing a lot of Renata at a high level, enough for people to want to ban it against FlyQuest. Now, a little bit of history between these two teams. They've never played. So you could say, oh, well, what kind of history can we go over? Well, Jensen and Maple have been around the block for a long time, so they must have played each other at least a handful of times. Wrong. Just quick glance, 20 minutes of research. So if it is wrong, I mean, it is what it is. But I don't believe it is. They've played only 4 times internationally, plus even domestically. So I'm actually including last year's Dignitas versus TSM games. So Maple went 3-1 in those 4 games, 2 last year, and then 2 at Worlds 2016. In those 4 games, like I said, Maple winning 3 of them. His KDA is better at 5.8 versus 1.8. Jensen has the edge at 15 minutes, however. On average, at 15 minutes, Jensen was ahead 282 gold, 23 CS, and 542 XP. So Jensen was winning lane, but not winning the game. That really did happen a lot to him last year with Dignitas. I think he was ahead of Maple by 30 CS in both games or something, but lost both. Solo kill wise, Maple had 2 in these 4 games. 1 onto Jensen, and then another onto Sneaky. Yes, that's from 2016, Flash Wolves versus Cloud9. We're going way back in time. So that's the thing. T1, Astral, Esports. So, these teams have never played. Astral's never been to an international event. They have been one of the best domestic teams in Latin America for a couple of years now, but never getting over the hump. Internationally, Latin America has never beaten Korea. They are 0-6. Now, bans by these teams. So, in top lane, we've seen T1 ban not only Jace, but also Twisted Fate. So, not wanting to play against those two. As far as Astral's concerned, they banned Rumble and Volibear. Volibear, of course, is a flex pick, so it's also banned in the jungle against opposing junglers, as well as getting Sejuani out of there. They did not want to play against Sejuani. And T1 did not want to play against Vi or Maokai. They banned those out in LCK playoffs. Mid lane bans, I mean, if you want to get particular, TF and Jace are flex picks. We have not seen TF mid much. We have not seen Jace mid much, but I guess those are kind of mid bans. If not, they're T1 really not banning many mids. But Astral did ban Tristana and Orianna. So they didn't want to play into those two. Wouldn't shock me if they also banned Orianna against Faker. In the bot lane, Tristana, the only ban for Astral, so otherwise banning that flex. They didn't ban bot laners. But T1 did ban Senna. Senna is a high priority pick for T1. We saw it as the most played by Guma in playoffs. And then T1 banned Nautilus, and Astral also banned Nautilus. So don't expect Nautilus to be up in this series tomorrow because neither team likes playing against it. Now, against these teams, what is banned against them? What do you not want to play against, at least come playoff time? So, people didn't want to play against Zolfve's Renekton. So, that was banned against him. In the jungle, Jose Dioto's Lee Sin banned, and then Owner's Vi. So, high pick by T1. They're banning it, or it's being banned against them. Or it's being picked, I guess. Where Astral, not as big of a worry for them. They've been playing into it or picking it themselves. Mid lane, T1 facing Orianna bans, so that lines up. If Astral was already banning it, they're going to ban it now because if LCK mids don't want to play into Faker's Orianna, I doubt Cody wants to play into the Orianna. Mid lane, Karma banned by Astral. Bot lane, so heavy bans against these two bot lanes, both of them facing Ashe bans. And then we have Varus and Senna banned against Guma, and then Kalista banned against Snaker. So Ashe by both sides, neither team really getting an opportunity to play it. T1, high prio on Senna, either banning it, playing it, or it being banned against them. So that's a thing. And then technically Ashe and Varus could be flexed to support when you have Keria in play. Varus not as much, but Ashe certainly. And then he also faced Tom Kench bans. I'm sure that was a situation where, of course, they're trying to get rid of the Senna. And then not only that, after they ban out the TK, Keria's like, fine, I'll play Sion, I'll play Sejuani. He'll play anything. And, I mean, now you've just opened up a can of worms, right? You got rid of the TK, but now you got to play, really pick your poison, if you will. And then Astral. So they face Ashe bans, so that, flexes. And Renata. Something to note about the Renata, I read in my comment section, somebody, a Latin American fan, because they're really talking up Astral, said that they apparently had been scrimming FlyQuest. So if that is the case, it wouldn't surprise me if we're seeing bans against both of these teams, because maybe Busio and Ackerman both can play a mean Renata worthy of being banned against them. So, of course, these two series are probably not created equally in terms of competitiveness. But, who knows what will happen tomorrow, right? I cited yesterday in my video, or maybe it was in the bot lane video specifically, Shogun and Taki of Saigon Buffalo at 2022 MSI going into against T1, who I think had just went undefeated in the LCK regular season in spring, and put Guma on his ass for 4 months. So, with that in mind, who knows? Personally, I always think teams really underutilize level ones. I understand some people say, oh, well, it's not as viable. You got to do things that you don't normally do, and you got to do things that they don't normally see to have any chance in hell, in my opinion. So hopefully we see some level ones in these matchups. That matchup, FlyQuest PSG, is a massive one. I said it in yesterday in my predictions video. I think those are the two teams that are on the bubble of making it or not. It is between those two. I think Fnatic are above both of them. And then, of course, T1 and Top Esports are as well. So, definitely a competitive matchup there. Bwipo over Ozzy in top lane, jungle, mid, synergy, probably a wash. And then the bot lane duo. If PSG's bot lane just does its job and FlyQuest struggles into a veteran bot lane that's been there a bit, Fly will have issues if Bwipo coin flips tails. But that's kind of the vibe, right? If FlyQuest bot lane can just stand its ground and handle the moment, it should be, the other way. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.